Well, hello there, people. This is going to be one of those videos. It's going to be a rant. I will get animated. I got so angry or so animated because I wanted to upload a video or not publish a video, and someone posted this in my Discord. I had to go and make me a fucking G Fuel mix. I feel like a 15-year-old ready to go in Call of Duty or Fortnite or Apex Legends and frag out some people. This is how delusional and batshit crazy the Linux YouTubers have come/community. Hashtag not all. Before we go into this, do the YouTube thing. Watch the video before you comment, but like, subscribe, go onto my Discord and tell me to lose my sanity by looking at this. When you're done that, I hope you're done that, let's continue. I'm not going to even insult my brain cells watching the video, because this is kind of the same spiel that the Linux community/YouTubers done the last 10-15 years. It's not the video so much I'm criticizing here, or the person as the whole mentality that this video may be about, or it could be about baking cookies. I don't know how much clickbait he is. From the title and the thumbnail, this is something that the Linux community has been championing for years and years and years, is that let's not let people discover Linux on their own. We have to force them into Linux, which is a bad shit idea. I don't know if, I could lose some weight. I am losing weight. I have lost a lot of weight. You just have not seen it. But if you're forcing me to lose weight, do you think I'm going to do it? If you're yelling and screaming at my door and kicking me in the face every day, every morning I wake up, you are yelling and screaming at me and throwing cabbages in my face and inserting carrots up into all my crevices and saying, healthy boy, you are a healthy boy now. Do you think that will ever work? Does it work on you? It works on a really select few group of people. They tend also go to kinky places where they get tied up and spanked with the whips and kicked in the nuts and stuff like that. If you're one of those people, it may work on you. But for the vast majority of people, forcing them to do anything, especially if they don't have to and they have a choice, is never a good thing. The Linux community, they love to do this. I have a video I reacted to a few months ago about how to basically do psych ops on your friends to force them into Linux. How to manipulate your friends and family to use Linux. If you don't think Linux is a cult, it's a cult for a lot of people. And here, you see here, track your friends to Linux before Windows. So what this would imply, and there could be some truth into it, that Windows is forced upon us. So if we are following that narrative that Windows is forced upon the user, let's say we all agree on that, and again, there is some truth to it. I'm not saying that is not somewhat truth in it. But let's just say, it's 100% truth. There's no debate about it, because that's what they think. They all say, well, that's bad. It's bad that Microsoft is forcing Windows and on you and Dell and HP and stuff like that. Then they make videos saying that you should force Linux instead. Okay, so it's bad to force Windows, but it's not bad to force Linux because you like Linux. What if I like Windows? There are people that like Windows. And this is the double-sided, the manipulative brain rot that Linux users have in a lot of instances, especially Linux YouTubers, is that they don't like when the competitors are doing something. But it's okay if they are doing it. So forcing people to use Windows by pre-installing Windows and don't want to help them with tech support and all of those fucking low IQ fucking ideas they come up with, that's fine. But it's not fine for Microsoft and Microsoft tech people to not help them, not support them, not give them hardware support, not give them software support, not give them driver support, because we want it. We want it to work on Linux. We want it to be better on Linux than on Windows. Yeah, but you are doing exactly what they are doing, and you're calling them out for it. But it's okay if you're doing it. You cannot yell and scream at a vendor or developer and then want them to support you on top of that. It's the stupidest thing on earth. You know the saying that you attract more bees with honey? Learn from that. Here's the thing. And I don't know why the high IQ Linux people can't figure this one out. Linux don't have to compete with Microsoft. Linux don't have to compete with macOS. Linux has to compete with Linux. Because if Linux wants to be the next Microsoft, what do Linux needs to do? It needs to become the next Microsoft, aka it needs to do exactly what Microsoft is doing. So that means it has to be dumbed down massively more, it has to be way more accessible, there has to be a lot more junk pre-installed, because you have to make it so the vast majority of people that pre-install their distribution don't have to then go download a lot of the common software. That also means you will get a lot of advertisement in Linux, you'll get a lot of forced technologies into Linux and stuff like that, because that is what people either want or expect, or what give the vast majority of users, maybe not you and me, but the vast majority of other users, a good experience. I love this thing that they say that Windows exploded, and they could be right, but take me for example. I spend more time deploading Linux distributions when I install them than I do installing them. That's why to some degree I like SUSE Linux, Arch Linux, and distributions where I choose what's on the install. The same with Windows. I spend more time deploading Windows than installing it. But because you like Firefox, you like Thunderbird, you like LibreOffice and all the other fucking bullshit that I don't like that distributions come with, you don't see that as bloat, you see that as a, oh, this is nice, I don't have to go and download it. Well, I install a lot of Windows not distributions, but Windows install. And almost all besides Candy Crush and Xbox, people actually fucking use it that's pre-installed with Windows. They like Teams. They like Spotify. They like, Clipchamp or what the fuck it's called nowadays. For them, that's a feature. So if I remove that, which I did in the beginning when I started to professionally install workstations and development stations and accountant stations and stuff, I took all of this fucking bullshit away that us Linux users normally would take away from Windows, and they were like, where's my Teams? Where's this? Where's this? Where's this? And I'm like, you know what? It's just easy to just install a stock standard version of fucking Windows, and then if something is a nuisance for them, I will just uninstall it on that computer. That is, like, if Linux wants to be Windows, compete with Windows, outcompete Windows, that is what Linux needs to be. And a lot of the current gatekeeping Linux users don't want that. But they are so fucking erect penises hungry, teenage hungry on building Microsoft and Windows that they lose the point. They lose the existence of Linux to beating Microsoft. It looks almost like they're willing to become more evil towards the users than Windows is, or Microsoft is, sorry, just to beat Microsoft. They are willing to do a lot of bad shit just to beat Microsoft. There's a Linux distribution right now that a Microsoft engineers made that almost look identical to Windows. So what that is telling me, and a lot of Linux users are praising this as the next big thing. So you like the Windows UI apparently, you like the Windows paradigms. The only thing you don't like about Windows is that it's owned by Microsoft. So you like the kernel, you like in the file manager, you like the way it installed programs. That's what you're telling us. Look at Windows back in the Linux FX or what the fuck it's called. Look at GNOME. Look at KDE. Look at how many things in Linux that are trying to mimic Windows or Mac OS because they want to kick their asses. Instead of focusing on who Linux is for, what Linux is good at. They don't do that. And then they yell and scream at Windows, Microsoft, Apple, Mac OS for doing certain things. And then, lo and behold, they do the same thing. One thing that really fucking, got me laughing my tits off, my man boobs, they almost fucking fell down to China or Australia or something like that. When Windows did the whole recall thing, it's not a gun, recall thing. I don't want it. You don't want, nobody, I don't think anyone fucking wants recall, okay? No matter if it's locally encrypted or what the fuck it is, it's just a security risk waiting to be exploited, no matter if it's encrypted or not, because it stores so much fucking sensitive data, and nobody would want that. And rightfully so, they got called out on it from Windows users, Mac users, and Linux users. What did Linux users do? Well, a month later, all Linux YouTubers in the world almost made a video about the Linux version of Recall. It's open source, it's encrypted, and it don't phone home. I don't care if I have my whole fucking Windows or my whole desktop history on my local computer for the last 6 months. all the fucking anime series I'm looking at, if someone hacks into my computer, even if it's encrypted, they can potentially decrypt that, because I don't know how good that encryption is, etc., etc., etc. And also, who is saying that the people that are making that has not backdoors into it and blah, 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 that we have not found yet. It's super easy to hide code in open source code. If you want me to show it to you, I can show you how easy we're just naming methods and functions and classes, common names, and you will not even guess that it's a telemetry or backdoor method, class, whatever. Because, setting computer name. It's just setting the computer name, when in reality it's fucking going and taking all your credit card numbers. Because when you read that, you're not going to investigate that class. You just say, I must trust what the developer called it or explained it does. So you're just going further down the line. So they praised and, look, we done it better than Microsoft, and it's okay if we store all your personal information on your device and blah, 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 blah. Which is what Apple is doing. Apple is storing a lot of their personal fucking shit locally on your devices now. But that's bad because it's Apple. And the Linux users like, well, there could potentially be backdoors and all that fucking shit. And like, yeah, the same could be done in your open source version. Like, no, we can see the source code. So on average, there's a little bit of an industry insight here. On average, a super skilled code reviewer that are massively intimate with the code, meaning they know the developers, they know how the project is structured, etc. You get the idea here. On average, can read between 150 to 200 lines of code in 1 hour, being efficient. That's someone that basically is the developer of the fucking program, so to speak. They can review their own code in that speed. How many lines of code and how efficient do you think this fucking dude here is if he download a 1,000-line of code program? There can be hidden a lot of shit in there that he don't know about, or people like him don't know about, because they're not developers, or they're not to the same level developers as the developers that made that program. It's not just, it's the same thing. I can read a book. That don't mean I can understand it. I can even read foreign languages books and guess or interpret some of the words, but I understand them even less. Just because you can read don't mean you know what the fuck is going on. But they live in this false sense of security that, because we can see the source code, people will look at it and they will fix it. I have a video that will come out, or either has come out, where I look at, I think it was 500,000 hours it will take one person to review the Linux code in the kernel if they were Linus Torvalds, or that level intimate with the code in the kernel. 500,000, I think it was, hours to skim the Linux kernel code for backdoors, bugs, etc., etc., etc. So it's almost meaningless that you can see the code unless you really know what you're doing. But again, they love living in this cult mentality. I've never seen in my 30-something years in Linux and Windows and stuff, and with Mac around, of course, I've never seen any other tech people group make videos like what you see here. Never. I never seen a Windows user, a Mac user, a fucking Photoshop user, a DaVinci Resolve user spending 30 minutes making a fucking detailed video about how you psychologically manipulate your spouse, your family members, into using a piece of fucking software you like. Or in this case, with Linux, the Linux operating system. Only in Linux. If you don't get it by now, I can't fucking help you. Nobody can help you. I cannot explain. Well, I can explain, but you probably won't believe me. When I see comments on my channel that I'm like, people are fucking bad, this makes no sense. I take that comment and screenshot it, and I go show it to my developer friends, my team leaders, my CEOs. And you know what? 9 out of 10 times they laugh their tits off. The Linux community and Linux YouTubers has become the biggest fucking joke in the tech industry, and it's so sad. It's so sad. This is not being supportive. This is being Scientology. This is being fucking a dictator. If you have to force your people, your friends and family, to use Linux, or have to have a 30-minute video explaining you how to manipulate them into use it, that means Linux is dog shit. I don't know how to say it, because you should not have to do this. Linux should be so good that just that you sit with it on your fucking skinny lap and type command lines or do whatever the fuck you do, that everyone around you will flock around you and they're like, I want this. Just like when you go to a restaurant, and you eat good food. You don't see the chef running around and giving free samples and yelling and screaming and forcing people into the fucking restaurant and closing the doors and give them an induction with fucking level speech in the beginning to brainwash them into eat at his restaurant. They will come by themselves. They hear from friends and family how great this is. They will come by themselves. That is what Linux should strive to be. Don't beat Windows. Don't beat fucking Mac OS. It's useless. The people that need and want Mac and Windows, you won't convince them. People that are happy with Mac and Windows, you won't convert them. Even if they have issues with Mac and Windows once in a while, you won't convert them. No matter how much you try and force their way into it, they have to convert themselves, because they will figure out that you're manipulating them. They will figure out that you're bullshitting them. They will figure out that you're forcing them into doing it. And now you become the bad person. It never fucking works. And I'm so sick and tired of watching YouTuber after YouTuber making videos like this. PewDiePie installed Linux. Oh my god, Linux, the desktop have won. They almost lost fucking 1% of the market share 2 weeks after he fucking announced that he's using Linux. The cult infestation that Linux have on a lot of users is mind-boggling, to be honest. And it's so easy to out-debate 99.99% of all of those users and YouTubers. Because what they do is they take a fucking, imagine this is the gospel of Linux, and they read line for line. You can make a bingo card that you can fill out when you're talking with a Linux user. And you can see how many of the fucking party line sentences they are saying and get a bingo out of it. Almost most of the time you will fill out that bingo card. This is how predictable they are, because they don't think for themselves. They don't have critical thought. They are just listening to what other Linux users are saying, what Richard Stallman is saying, what all those fucking cult YouTubers are saying, and just repeating it word for word. They don't sit down and say, oh, wait. You are claiming that open source is more secure and stable than proprietary software. Where is the evidence? Where is the white papers that have gotten through years and years of testing in both science and non-science and reproducing the same outcome every time that says 100% that that's the case? They don't exist. Trust me, I tried to find them for 25 years. They don't exist. But they love saying it. They love saying that if you open source your project, the community will help. It can, but it's not guaranteed. I have a lot of open source projects around in the world. Nobody's fucking helping me out with those. Granted, I don't publicize them, but they don't tell me that I have to do that. They just say, open source your project and people will help. They don't tell me I have to put money into advertisement, I have to put it out there, I have to talk about it like it was my fucking firstborn child and stuff like that. They don't talk about that. It's guaranteed in their viewpoint. If you have an open source project, people will help out. I've seen more open source projects stop existing because the community did not help out or sponsor or help the project, but demanded more and more and more and more and more. And then someone forks it. And that lasts for a year or two, and they die because the workload becomes too much and the community don't support or help out. Then someone else forks, and then 5 years down the line, you're running fork 25. That's basically the same fucking version of it, or a crappier version of project number 1. Because project number 1 is the best version. Then number 2 is a little bit the same. And then just the more people that get hands-on, they get more diluted with bad ideas, lack of direction and stuff. And then you come to like fork number 5. It's a fucking shit show. There are so many projects, distributions, I can't fucking even count it. I would be sitting here for like 2 years just naming names. At least in the proprietary software, if an idea is not good enough and it dies out, it's dead. You know, you may see someone try something of the same nature, but it's dead. As it should be. Natural fucking selection, bitches. The Brainwash. So stupid. Let's go back to PewDiePie again, okay? They have said for years. Let me go even further back. The year of the Linux desktop. If only big companies started to support Linux, everyone will move to Linux. Well, Nvidia, AMD... There's a lot of big companies that have supported Linux since 2010. Didn't happen. If only a company would invest a lot of money in desktop Linux, it will succeed. Ubuntu did that in 2004 or 5 when it came out. Now it's regarded as the Microsoft of Linux, and nobody should use it and stuff like that. So they're saying they want one thing and then they're shooting themselves in the foot and don't want to use it anyway. But it did make Linux outcompete Windows or Mac OS. If only gaming comes to fucking Linux, it will take over the desktop market. I'm still waiting for that to happen with Valve supporting Linux as well as they do. It almost had no impact whatsoever on Linux user bases at all. If only we got support for a really prominent, well-known figure in the, let's say, the normie world. PewDiePie comes out and say he's installing Linux and he thinks you should give it a try also. And he even explained that it may not be for everyone and there's some problems and stuff like that. Then we have developers. We have YouTubers. We don't want those lefties. The one day he's a lefty, the other day he's a righty, and the third day he's a centrist. He's a fucking Swedish person. He's none of those things. But they want the support from a big fucking prominent person that can drive a lot of traffic into Linux. But then you don't want him because he's not ticking all the fucking right boxes in their minds. How fucking stupid can you be? That's the craziness of people we are dealing with here, boys and girls. They want someone to promote them. 5+ million views in 2 fucking weeks. And then there are videos out there. Not a lot. I would say, like, I'm not saying not a lot, but still a decent amount of videos out there. It's like, oh, we don't want that user base. We don't want him because he said the N-word or sometime. Or he's, like I said, depending on who the fuck you talk to, he's either like a leftist, a rightist, or a centrist. They can't even figure out where the fuck he is on the political spectrum. But they just know they don't want him because he's either not woke enough or he's not like red enough or whatever the fuck, or blue enough or whatever the fuck it is the right is. He's not right enough. Linux users are never satisfied. That's one thing you can be 100,000% sure of. Even if here's another thing: people don't really hate Canonical. They really don't think Canonical and Ubuntu is the Microsoft of Linux. They just don't like it because it's the most popular Linux distribution. It takes away their uniqueness, their snowflakiness. I'm what my mom told me, I'm the most special person on earth. Because a lot of people, they use Linux because it makes them feel special. And that's it. I know 5-year-olds that know more about development and computer hardware and computing in general than most fucking Linux users do. And that's a sad reality of it. Linux has become so easy and so accessible that it's filled with illiterate fucking idiots that think they are smart. And I'm being really harsh here, but it's the reality of it. It has become exactly what they don't want from Windows and Mac OS. It's become the third operating system where a lot of perceived or self-announced experts are filling comment section, forum post, Reddit post, X post with their so-called expertise. Linux has become Windows. It's filled with crazy people that think they are smart and can't shut their mouth and listen to people that actually know what the fuck they're talking about because they will shoot them down. Because then they feel stupid, as they should. So instead of learning from those people, they will shoot them down. Oh, you are Microsoft shell, you are proprietary shell, blah, 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 blah. Because you're not just following the white paper doctrine of fucking Linux's Bible. I cannot understand any self-proclaimed critical thinker, free spirit, call it what you will, would want to be part of a system that says we are about freedom and choice as long as you choose the things that we tell you to choose. And that's what they're doing. They like openness. They like freedom. If it's within the parentheses of what they deem to be the right choices. Proprietary software, if you want to develop proprietary licenses, that's not deemed acceptable. So that should not even be a choice. You don't have the freedom to do that. Using Windows and Mac OS should not be a choice because they don't deem that to be the right choice. They are dictators. That's what dictators do. If you're old enough, you can remember when Saddam Hussein was still fucking alive, and he was like, I have a fucking democratic society. Look, we have votes. Yeah, he said, like, you can vote on these 5 people. That's all my supporters, by the way, that I have said those are the only one you can vote for. But it technically is a democracy, because you can vote on people more. Like, I'm over-exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying here. This is what Linux is. They talk so much about freedom and openness and inclusivity and all that fucking shit, and they are more fucking strict and restrictive than even proprietary software and Microsoft and Mac OS is, and Apple is. This is the hard truth. I cannot explain how many times I've been talking to crazy-ass, ingrained Mac fans and Windows fans, and they never, ever judge me for using Linux, or either Windows or Mac OS, or using open. I talked to a lot of proprietary software developers, and talked about open source with them, and they're like, if you want to do open source, you do open source. I never had any of those people judge me or other people for the choices they make in their life that are not physically hurting anyone or doing anything illegal. The only people that do that, those fucking eggheads over there. And the fact they can't see that they don't understand, that they actually, and I would go out on a limb and say they may be the bad guys here, but for doing that. Because if you want freedom, if you want inclusivity and all of those fucking things, you need to allow people to disagree with you. You need to allow people to choose the things and do the things you will not choose to do. Again, as long as it's not illegal and they're not hurting anyone. But they won't. You should only use Linux. And this is where it goes even more fucking monkey throwing shit at each other, batshit crazy, that not even a fucking 5th grader will think is like logical. You should use Linux, but only these distributions, because these over there, like, they're bad, like, they're not good enough, they're not pure enough. Only these distributions. And if you're a real man or girl or whatever you are, you use Arch Linux. And if you really fucking want to show that you have some big cojones, you may go Linux from scratch at Gentoo. If you really love watching that terminal go nuts. Where's the freedom in that? Where's the openness, the inclusivity in that? If you don't like what other distributions do, or the companies do, or the developers do, don't fucking use their product. But this is again the twisted mindset. We don't like proprietary companies, but we really want NVIDIA to support Linux more. We really want X, Y, and Z company to support Linux more. That is an inherent proprietary company. You don't like proprietary companies, you cannot fucking use a computer. 99% of the hardware on your computer is running proprietary software as firmware. If you are that fucking pure, you can not forget NVIDIA, forget AMD, forget Intel. You have to spin your own fucking CPU down in your basement with your feces tied together in unicorn strings. I never met more delusional group of people. It's almost like the book 1984 or 5 or what the fuck it's called, 83 or whatever it's called. They think they are free. They think they have found the Holy Grail. They think that they are the future. They think they have seen, the light, while they are being controlled by Big Brother. In this case, which is Stallman and his acolytes, basically. And another thing they don't fucking talk about is Linux would not exist without Microsoft, Oracle, IBM. Name any fucking multi-million-billion-dollar company. Those are the ones that are paying for all the free fucking shit you are getting. Or some random fucking billionaire, millionaire that's sponsoring a open source project because you don't want to do it. You don't want to sit and translate a project's manual or instructions into your local language. You just want to consume. You want to use. You don't want to spend money. I will bet my hairy fucking back and ass that 99% of the people watching this right now being massively angry at me have done this much for Linux, open source, FOSS, call it what you will. They have never, not subscribed, they have never never ever reviewed a fucking code. They've never ever submitted something to a project. They've never ever helped out in a project in any way, shape, or form. And they've never ever donated to a fucking project in any way, shape, or form. But they want to sit here and tell the world how much better than anyone else they are. But the second something is required of them, they get their fucking head twisted around. So they want everyone in the world to be forced into using Linux. No. Why the fuck would a sane person be associated with a group of that batshit crazy people? I might as well fucking go to a vegan conference with a fucking half of a cow hanging around my neck. I'd rather do that. Like, they are so batshit crazy, it's not even funny anymore. And the sad reality of it is here. Until Linux, and I mean the developers, the distribution makers, and definitely the community get their shit together, they will never ever beat anyone. They will stay number 3, they will stay being the little fucking nerdy OS that the people that never fucking shower, etc., are using. That's it. Because they say, we want to be more mainstream, but we don't want to do the things that makes mainstream audience want to use Linux. So again, they want everyone to use Linux, but on their term, in their way, because for some reason, they think they know what's better for you, me, and the world. Does that sound like someone you have heard about? I can say like this man, the man with the cross on his head when he got caught, cult leaders, dictators, fascists, you name it. They all say the same shit. They all say the same shit over and over again to brainwash their followers into believing it. Linux YouTubers do it, Linux advocates do it. It's like, again, like I said, you can make a bingo card out of it. It's the same thing that's being told over and over again to brainwash you into believing it. And they do have some good arguments. I'm not saying they are wrong in a lot of instances. They have a good argument and that's what makes it even more fucking dangerous, is that they have some good arguments that if you don't really research it or spend hours and hours and hours educating yourself, it makes sense. Those are the dangerous cults. That they make so much sense for the common person that why would you not believe it? And it takes a lot of education to understand how much full of bullshit they are. And that's why they get away with it. If you see any Linux YouTubers advocating for forcing something into doing something, you should not watch them, listen to them, take advice from them. Because they don't give a fuck about you, your need, or anyone else's need other than themselves. He is making this video for himself. This is a self-serving video. Just like how to manipulate your friends and family to use Linux. It's because that person wanted that. Not because the other people wanted it. He wanted it. All of the videos about how to convince people to use Linux and all that, they make those videos for themselves and for people like him. They don't make it for you. Because if they really cared about you as a user, they will ask you what you wanted. And then they will say, this is okay, you need this out of a computer. You have Linux, Windows, Mac OS, heck, even FreeBSD is an option. And you show them those options. And whatever the fuck they choose, you will support them, you will be happy, and you will help them. Because what other people do in their life is not about you. It's about them. If they want a strawberry cake and you hate it, it's their birthday. You fucking pretend to like that fucking cake that day. Just to make them happy. Because it's their life. You don't demand them, oh, it's your birthday, I want a fucking iPad, so therefore you're getting an iPad. That is what these guys are doing here. They're making it all about them. What they want, what they think are the best. They, aka me, I. That's basically what 99% of Linux YouTubers is about. What they think everyone else should be doing. What they think is the best for everyone else. What they think is the best thing for society, blah, 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 blah. Again, we're going all to these kind of people's brainwave of thinking. I am the narcissistic, all-knowing being that knows what's best for everyone. That's what you get. I'm out of here. See you all later. Bye-bye.